Revenant Scorn are terrifying. Some of the stories we'll dive through today will showcase that, but not all tales have tragic endings. A cabal legionary takes in a lost hatchling. A daunting alien figure emerges to consume unsuspecting Eliksni, and a hero saves the day. Welcome Guardians, let's take a look at some epic Revenant stories. So not sure about you, but sometimes when I get into some of these Destiny stories or the episodes more recently, it seems like there's this main storyline going on, but many of the threads seem to get lost behind the scenes. Maybe that's always how it's been with the lore cards, but I feel it more so recently, especially given the amount of content in each act. So today we have 3 different lore stories for you. Sit back and enjoy, and let's jump right in. In our first tale from the Insurmountable card, a group of Eliksni are ambushed by Revenant Scorn, leaving behind a tiny hatchling. A time later, a cabal legionary approaches and falls into the same Scorn trap, but this time something strange happens, and the legionary and hatchling form a new bond in a time of struggle. Life on the outskirts of the Tangled Shore was as desolate as ever. Yet the few remaining Eliksni there heard the reports and knew it was time to leave. "How much farther to the catch?" a dreg gasped. A mountain of the crew's effects lashed on his back and balanced in his arms. "We'd had been there by now if you hadn't destroyed our last pike," a vandal snarled at him. Suddenly, a soft cry lilted into the air, loud and desperate, almost childlike. The dreg stopped in his tracks, listening. "Do you hear that?" He rushed ahead and found a lone hatchling, crawling and wailing a song of abandonment deep within a crater. "The hatchling is surrounded by dark ether," the dreg exclaimed. The vandal grabbed the dreg by the back of his neck. "You fool, we have to go," she yelled. But it was too late. A cluster of bloodthirsty Revenant Scorn descended on them, leaving nothing but their screams to echo across the landscape. A lone legionary clad in blue followed a sound, a cry that lilted across the barrenness of the Tangled Shore. The sound became louder and more desperate, almost childlike. He discovered a lone hatchling wailing a song of abandonment deep within a crater. Carefully, the legionary lowered himself into the fissure. He comforted the hatchling, who quickly clung to him amid the dark ether that swirled around. A war cry erupted from above as a cluster of Revenant Scorn descended. The legionary quickly dispatched one and shoved a grenade in its grotesque mouth before lobbing it back up toward its brethren. As it exploded, bits and pieces of the entire pack rained down around the legionary and the hatchling, who cowered behind him. The last remaining Scorn attacked from behind, pinning the legionary to the ground, sending his weapon flying. The putrid monster lashed out but stopped suddenly, howling in pain. The legionary turned to see the chubby hatchling latched onto the Scorn's leg, teeth lodged deep in its flesh. Without hesitation, he lunged for his sidearm and placed a bullet neatly in the Scorn's head. He lovingly scooped up the unharmed hatchling, wiped the ooze and drool from its mouth, and bellowed with laughter. "You have just eaten the first of many mountains, a true cabal from this day forward, little one." So that tale is pretty sad and also funny in the end. We have a bunch of Revenant Scorn luring different Eliksni and species into this trap in this crater, knowing they would all try to rescue this hatchling that's stuck in the middle. The cabal legionary is a little bit different though. He begins to fail, but as he does, that hatchling bites its leg and fights back. So I guess hatchlings sort of have this instinct from the beginning. From the cutscenes and audio we've heard, we've witnessed some of the terrifying aspects of Fikrul's power. On the surface, at least to me, it's like, okay, Fikrul just uses the echo and changes them, but these cards really get into some of the details. In the Bittersweet card, and Eliksni is venting his rage towards members of House Salvation as a powerful figure, likely Fikrul, approaches and transforms him into a Revenant Scorn. Tristak howls as he tears the head off the offending vandal. The other prisoners retreat to the corners, still twitching mandibles drip warm fluid down his armor. None of you are worthy of the House Salvation banner. Even the other warriors flinch. The civilians sob or throw up, the hopelessness of their situation becoming clear. We fought for freedom, we fought for justice, and you cowards betrayed your house. Rage boils in Tristak's throat, his fervor growing as the other prisoners pack themselves even tighter. A rush of cold air sucks Tristak's antenna backward. He cannot feel the presence of anyone behind him, but Tristak sees the terrified eyes of his fellow prisoners fixed far above his dripping plate. Reckless youth smells so sweet, but I will vince you to your true potential. Tristak does not turn. He refuses to show fear. His neck snaps back. A single chord resonates within his thorax, and every molecule attunes to its bitter pitch. This melodic intoxicant soaks through Tristak's muscles. The cacophony that follows fills him with fresh strength, writhing in harmony with its echoing pulse. My sweet tonic will bear you forward, and you will bear more to me. Tristak breathes in new life. The fog of his old ideals sloughs away as his focus is made sharp. The prisoners cry anew as he opens his slick mandibles wide to drink in their stench. Delicious. So that card gives us some gruesome details. I'm assuming Fikrul was the one that approached from behind and sort of changed Tristak, this Eliksni, into this new Scorn creature. Tristak was angry, and in the end it didn't even matter because Fikrul rules all with this echo power. His power is literally withering down the Eliksni here in Seoul, turning living creatures into zombies essentially. In the Shadestalker Cape, a group of Salvation Eliksni are trapped and confronted by a Revenant Scorn leader, possibly one of the Revenant Barons. As they are about to be transformed, a savior steps in to save the day. Undead screeches bounce off the ruined walls of Rees Reborn, carried by blizzard winds that obscure any path to safety. The small band of Eliksni got separated from the rest, the jetty, and fled down this abandoned alley. A Salvation catch could barely defend itself from these pale monstrosities. What chance did they have? A second molt is unable to hold her composure. Her antennal glands leak as the mother holds her close. Her clicking purr is hushed, just enough to voice comfort. I can smell your fear. Above them, metal creaks under the Revenant's weight. One drag begins to scurry away, but his knee is pinned to the ground by a spear. Do not weep, it sings, so close his mandibles rake the drag's respirator. Rejoice, today you will be made whole. The undead Hulk salivates as this small band huddles together. A neon cord catches the aberration's carapace, pulling it up into the air by an unseen hand. The mother shields her brood's eyes as bitter ichor erupts from the undead's throat. 2 more piercing rounds in quick succession. See him sinking into the snow, now loosed from the ephemeral thread. The second molt breaks away to see a Slayer Baron, as if from an ancient epic, stepping through the gate. Mother, she chitters in relief. A Fate Weaver from your stories. The snowdrift clears, revealing the upright figure's alien anatomy. Not my stories, a new one. So this card also has some gruesome depictions, but ends in a more positive note. We have the neon green cord of a strand grapple from a Slayer Baron Guardian, bringing the creature down in one fell swoop. There are a couple of other cards that describe the Revenant Scorn and Fikrul's transformation of the Eliksni, but I wanted to showcase a few to further explain this episode's story, more than what we see on the surface like in that intro cutscene. But Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Hope you enjoyed these tales, and if you'd like to see some more just like them, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.